It started with a moment that no one in the building noticed, except one man who would change everything that day. A young intern stood by the reception desk, her hands trembling not from the coffee cup she held, but from nerves. Her name was Lena, and it was her third week interning at Harper Industries, one of the biggest corporate firms in the city. She didn't know that before the day ended, her quiet act of kindness would echo through every corner of that glass tower and touch the heart of the man sitting at the very top. Lena had always been the quiet one, the kind of person who smiled more than she spoke. She preferred the background, taking notes, sorting files, and watching others shine. Every day, she arrived before everyone else and left after the lights went out, her only goal being to make it through the internship without making a fool of herself. The corporate world intimidated her, all sharp suits, loud voices, and confident strides. She was soft-spoken, shy, and most of all, she carried a secret few noosing. She was fluent in sign language, something she'd learned for her younger brother, who had been born deaf. That morning, the office buzzed with unusual energy. The CEO was rumored to be in the building, a man few had seen in person. Ethan Harper, the founder himself, was known for his strict leadership, a visionary who built an empire from scratch. The entire staff was on edge, trying to make everything look perfect. Lena kept her head down, filing visitor forms at the reception. When the glass doors opened and an older woman walked in, she wore a gentle smile, clutching a small bag. She approached the desk, looking around uncertainly. "Good morning," Lena said softly. The woman didn't respond. Instead, she tilted her head slightly and gestured awkwardly with her hands. The receptionist beside Lena frowned, confused. Mom, I don't understand," she stammered. That's when Lena noticed the woman's hearing aid and the faint panic in her eyes. Without thinking twice, Lena put down her papers and gently signed, "Can I help you?" The woman's face instantly lit up. Relief washed over her, and tears shimmered in her eyes as she signed back. "Thank you. I'm here to drop off my late husband's portfolio. He was an architect who worked with Mr. Harper years ago." They spoke through their hands, quiet, graceful movements that told stories louder than words ever could. The lobby, usually a storm of ringing phones and clicking heels, fell silent as a few onlookers watched the conversation unfold. Lena listened intently, her face soft and attentive. The woman explained that she wanted to return some old designs her husband had cherished, hoping they'd find a place where they once belonged. Lena guided her gently, helped her fill out the forms, and even escorted her to the elevator, ensuring she was comfortable. When the woman left, she squeezed Lena's hand and signed, "You have a kind soul. Thank you for seeing me." What Lena didn't know, what no one knew, was that in the corner of the lobby, just beyond the glass, the CEO had been standing, watching the entire thing. The next morning, Lena walked into the office expecting another ordinary day. But something felt off. People whispered as she passed, some smiling curiously, others looking puzzled. When she reached her desk, her supervisor approached. "Lena, Mr. Harper wants to see you," he said. Her stomach dropped. The CEO. She had barely survived her first presentation last week. What could he possibly want with her? She followed nervously to the top floor, where the air smelled faintly of cedar and success. When she entered his office, Ethan Harper was standing by the window, looking out at the skyline. He turned slowly, his expression unreadable. "You helped a visitor yesterday," he said simply. Lena froze. Yes, sir. She needed assistance and, I saw," he interrupted gently. Then, to her surprise, his face softened. "You use sign language?" "Yes, sir. My brother is deaf, so I've learned to communicate with him since childhood." For a long moment, Ethan said nothing. Then he sat down and exhaled deeply. "That woman you helped, she was the wife of my former business partner, Daniel Brooks. Daniel passed away years ago. He was one of the kindest men I knew." She hadn't been to this building in a decade. Lena's eyes widened. "I didn't know," Ethan smiled faintly. "Of course you didn't. But what you did yesterday, the way you treated her, that's what this company was built on, human connection. Compassion, we've lost sight of that lately." He paused, then looked at her intently. "Tell me, Lena, what do you want to do after your internship?" As she blinked, caught off guard. I'm not sure, sir. I just want to do good work." Ethan chuckled softly. "You already have." That day, Lena's life changed. A simple act, one that came from the quietest part of her heart, had caught the eye of someone she never thought would notice her. Weeks later, a memo went out across the company. Harper Industries was launching a new accessibility and inclusion program to make their services more inclusive for people with disabilities. And at the head of that initiative was one name, Lena Brooks. As she stood at the podium during the launch event, her hands shook again, but this time not from fear. She signed part of her speech for the guests in attendance, including several members of the deaf community. In the front row sat Ethan Harper, smiling proudly. Sometimes the smallest voices create the loudest echoes, and the shy intern who once hid behind her desk had become the symbol of empathy that reshaped an entire company. In the end, Lena looked directly into the crowd and into the camera that streamed the event online, and signed one final message that everyone could understand, no matter what language they spoke.